Is there a way that each of us can do impossible things to create truly dramatic results? Well, the answer to that question actually is yes. Stay tuned to find out how. Hello, I'm Dr. Laby. I'm a sports vision ophthalmologist with 30 years experience working with professional and elite athletes. I'm bringing the experience I've had with them and the knowledge learned to you so that you can benefit from what they do for maximal sports performance. In a recent TED Talk, Paul Rulkens presented some thoughts in this area. The full link to his presentation is in the show notes below, but I'll save you some time and summarize his thoughts in this video. What he finds and what he notes in the talk is that when it comes to sports, the majority is usually wrong. Well, why is that? What he notes is that when athletes tend to get to a wall and not be able to move past that in their performance or their training, they tend to keep going and hitting the wall over and over and over again. In fact, they keep doing the same thing over and over again. 97% of the athletes tend to do that over and over again, getting nowhere, just simply hitting their head against the wall. But 3% of athletes will think of something different, will think of a way to get around that wall, a way to improve and move past the obstacles to their performance. Probably the explanation for why people keep hitting that same wall is that humans are sort of conditioned to minimize the expenditure of energy, to not think of things that are new, not to use that energy required to come up with new thoughts, to think differently, to think outside the box. It's certainly much easier to keep doing the same thing over and over again. That uses less energy. It seems like the majority of people just aren't willing to spend that extra energy to think outside the box, to think of a way that they can move past the obstruction, move past the problem in their training, and actually get better. Unfortunately, that box that most people are stuck in limits our performance, limits our ability to train, limits our ability to perform, and limits our ability to win. For example, there could be legal or economic boundaries that create us inside of that box, not letting us get past the wall. Sometimes these things can be overcome by athletes, sometimes they can be overcome by teams, but sometimes they're limiting, and that's what causes a team or an athlete not to progress, not to win. Another boundary could be technological. If you depend on people who don't have the expertise, don't have the knowledge, if you depend on equipment that hasn't been shown to really improve your ability to perform, that's going to be limiting. That's going to keep you inside that box, keep you in that 97% that keep hitting themselves against the wall. How do we get around that? Well, we make sure that we get expert opinions from experts, not from people who say they're experts, and we make sure that we use equipment and training methods that have been shown to be proven scientifically with mathematics and statistics to actually make a difference and to allow you to improve in your performance. Another boundary could be the norm. Remember, norm just means normal. And if everyone's willing to do the norm, you're not going to get outside the box ever. You're going to be stuck inside that 97%. Normal is just a word. What you want to do is make sure that you're super normal, you're better than normal, so that you have a better chance to win. In order to get outside of the box, we need to have innovation. We need to be willing to make that short-term energy expenditure to become one of those 3%, to think outside the box, to think of new ways of doing things, so that we can, with a small investment in energy now, gain a large return in performance in the future. In fact, in the video, there are a couple examples of how this innovation really can make a difference. For example, who would have thought that a company could sell pieces of wood with screws and screwdrivers to put together furniture? Well, the people who thought of that are named Ikea. Or who ever thought about selling computers without a store? Most people used to go to stores to look at your computers, to test it. You go to the Apple store now to see your new phone. But if you're a company that doesn't have stores and you can create wonderful computers, you'd be called Dell Computers, a very successful company. The video concludes with a wonderful example that we'll show you now.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius once said that the object of life is not to side with the majority, but the object of life is to escape finding oneself joining the ranks of the clinically insane. If you do what everyone else is doing, you're not distinguishing yourself and you're probably stuck. And this is why, when it comes to high performance, the majority is always wrong.
We know that the abnormal 3% are going to be the ones who are going to win the medals of the Olympics, win the championships, and perform maximally. These are the people who will embrace new technologies, who will think outside the box, who will innovate, and try to find ways to be the winners, not just to be the normal, average athlete or team. Remember, the alternative is to stay the normal, the average, the 97%, the non-winners. So the question is, which one are you going to be? Are you going to be part of the 3% winning group outside the box, or are you going to be part of the 97 normal people who never succeed? As Paul Rulkens says in the video, that choice is completely yours.